When you think about the law, you probably picture dusty old books, right? Well, I want you to try thinking about it a different way. Think of a country's legal system as its operating system. And just like the OS on your phone or computer, it needs constant upgrades to keep up with new technology and new threats. So, today, we're going to take a look at the latest major update to Singapore's legal code, a patch designed specifically for the 21st century. And that right there is the fundamental problem, isn't it? Our legal frameworks, they were built for a physical world of things you can touch and see, but we're living in a digital one. So how does a system that's built on centuries of precedent handle a future that seems to change every single second? Honestly, it's a question that every single country is grappling with right now. You can really see the clash right here. On one side, you've got traditional law, which is all about physical evidence, human testimony, things that are tangible. And on the other side, you've got modern life, driven by things like digital data, artificial intelligence, and even crimes that don't leave a single fingerprint. Watching Singapore try to bridge this gap is a really fascinating look at how a legal system can be forced to evolve. Okay, so let's start with the absolute building blocks of any court case: evidence. The digital revolution didn't just give us a new type of evidence, it completely turned the whole idea of what evidence even is on its head, and really made us question how we can trust it. Reading this today, it sounds almost laughably obvious. Of course, we're surrounded by computers. But back in 2003, this simple statement was a huge legal puzzle. Before a court could even think about using digital files as evidence, Singapore's legal minds had to answer a much more basic question: what, in the eyes of the law, actually is a computer? So the wild part is just how incredibly broad this definition had to be. The law had to be written to cover not just the PC on your desk, but the little microprocessor in your microwave, a networked office copier, or even peer-to-peer file sharing systems that didn't have a central server. This was literally the legal system stretching itself to its limits just to keep up with that first wave of digital tech. And just look at how fast everything accelerated. In just 10 years, the courts went from asking, "What's a computer?" to running on a fully digital platform. And now, another decade on, the challenge has taken another giant leap forward into the truly mind-bending problems that we're seeing with generative AI. So today, the problem isn't just about a computer printing out a record of something. It's about an AI actively taking part in legal work. It can write a contract or summarize decades of case law in seconds. But who's responsible if that AI gets it wrong? Or what if it leaks confidential client information? These are the new, incredibly high-stakes questions that this legal OS has to figure out how to handle. But these system upgrades aren't just about the tech. They're also about people. The system has to evolve its entire philosophy of punishment, and it's asking a really tough question. How do you balance what society needs for safety with the unique circumstances of the person who committed a crime? So when a judge hands down a sentence, what they're really doing is mixing a cocktail of these 4 ingredients: retribution, deterrence, prevention, and rehabilitation. And finding that perfect mix, well, that's the real art of modern justice. And sometimes it means you have to invent entirely new tools for the job. And that's where Singapore's approach gets really interesting. We're seeing this 2-pronged strategy emerge, with 2 very different sentencing tools designed for completely opposite ends of the spectrum. It really shows how the system is trying to get that balance just right. So first, for low-risk offenders, you have something called the Day Reporting Order. The key here is that this isn't about punishment, it's about preventing future crime. Instead of sending someone to prison, which we all know can be a revolving door, the goal is pure rehabilitation, trying to steer them back onto the right path with support right there in their own community. But then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, there's a new tool for the most dangerous criminals. It's called the Sentence for Enhanced Public Protection, or SEP, and this is for offenders who pose a serious ongoing threat to everyone else. The number one priority here isn't rehabilitation. It's protecting the public, full stop. And here's what makes the SIDPs so different. Release is not a guarantee. An offender serves a minimum of 5 to 20 years, but after that, they're only let out if they are assessed and are no longer considered a threat. If they're still a danger, they can be held, indefinitely. This is a massive shift from a fixed sentence to one that's based entirely on risk. So when you put them side by side like this, the strategy becomes crystal clear. On one side, you have a surgical tool designed for rehabilitation. On the other, a powerful shield for public protection. This is what a modern adaptive legal system looks like. It's not using a one-size-fits-all hammer for every single problem. So where is all of this headed? Well, this story of adaptation in Singapore is really just a snapshot of a global challenge. Every legal system everywhere in the world is running this exact same race, trying to keep its own operating system from becoming obsolete. When you boil it all down, the evolution of law is about managing these fundamental tensions. It's a constant balancing act, isn't it? How do you get the efficiency of AI without sacrificing an individual's rights? How do you protect the public while still believing that people can be rehabilitated? There are no easy answers here, and finding that right balance is a perpetual challenge. And this is where we get into some truly mind-bending possibilities for the future. We've already seen AI get into legal research and drafting. So what's next? Could an AI analyze data from millions of past cases to recommend a sentence? And more importantly, would we ever be comfortable with that? And this might be the biggest challenge of them all. If an AI can create a deepfake video or a forged document that is absolutely indistinguishable from reality, how can a court ever really be sure what's true? The very idea of evidence as we know it could be completely turned on its head. So the legal system has upgraded from parchment to pixels, from simple punishments to these complex, sophisticated sentences. The next set of challenges, as we've seen, is already knocking at the door. And this process, this need to constantly upgrade justice, it never really ends. The only question is, what will that next version look like?